Thanks for joining me on today, and welcome to the Dream Empowerment Network, where we help kingdom minded believers ignite purpose and build wealth. I'm Deb Howard, your abundant life coach, and this is the Den Podcast, where faith, financial strategy, and inner healing come together so you can build the life and legacy you love. All right. So I'm excited to be here on today. Um, as you've noticed, we have a new name for our podcast, The Den, and I'm excited about it. I hope you will continue to enjoy the content as that has not changed. And today, we're starting a brand new series. It's called From Survival to Safety. Listen, this is a subject that is near and dear to my own heart. I can be honest with you and share that I'm connected to this topic as God has dealt with me personally about some of the things that we're going to discuss. So I am excited to get into it with you. But before we jump in, we are talking about survival mode, emotional shutdown, and the way our bodies hold grief and stress. If anything feels too heavy for you today, if you feel triggered or activated, listen, it's okay to pause, right? Take a breath and take care of yourself. And if you need support beyond this podcast, reach out to a professional or a trusted person in your life. That's going to be a wise decision for you. It is not an indicator of weakness, all right? So let's get started. Have you ever looked up and realized you've been doing what you had to do, but you really haven't been feeling like you're handling business, you're paying bills, you're showing up for people, you're working, you're serving, you're pushing, you're managing, but emotionally you feel numb? Or maybe you feel everything all at once, but only in quick bursts. And then you lock it back up and keep moving. If that's you, I want you to hear me clearly today. You are not crazy and you are not broken. Listen, a lot of us were trained by life, by responsibilities, by trauma, by hardship, by the need to survive, to live by this unspoken rule: survive first and feel later. But the problem is, later doesn't always come. We just keep going. So today I want to help you identify what survival mode actually is, what it looks like beyond money, and how to take a small, safe step toward feeling again without falling apart. Now, let me tell you a quick story, my quick story. Some of you know that I lost my husband. It's been a while now. Um, but when I lost him, he, we weren't in a great financial situation. Okay. Definitely weren't prepared for his passing. I had a lot of responsibility. If you followed me for a while, you may have heard this before. My parents were living with me. I had two younger brothers living with me, and I had my own two kids. We had just purchased a home that we could barely afford. Like barely. And that was with both of our incomes. So when he passed, it was the love of my life, but I also had to think about the financial crisis that I was in. We didn't have much insurance, definitely not enough. And we needed both incomes plus some to afford this home. So when he passed, I remember he passed the Sunday before Thanksgiving. I remember we had the funeral the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I didn't want to go through the holidays, with that still pending. And y'all, I went back to work. I went back to work. the following week. One reason was because I didn't think I could afford not to. We were already behind on some things. It was horrible. So even though I was grieving, I felt like I had to keep going. And I did. And for the longest, I did that. I operated in survival mode. I know some of you can relate. I just kept going. When I look back on it now, I realize that, it probably had an emotional toll on my kids, on probably everyone around me, because I'm sure to them it seemed like I didn't care, which was far from the truth. It seemed like I was just going on with life. And the truth of the matter is, I had always been in survival mode, even before his death, but definitely his death pushed it even further. And I just learned how to, I guess, compartmentalize things and keep going. But the problem is, I never really felt things, right? I wasn't connected to my feelings. That's how I want to put that. So when we talk about survival mode, I've kind of given you a kind of simple example with my own story. Survival mode is basically the body's protective setting. It's your nervous system saying, listen, we got to get through this. We can't fall apart right now. That was me. Sometimes for survival mode looks like fight, being on edge, irritated, defensive. That was me. Sometimes it looks like flight, staying busy, staying productive, staying in motion. That was also me. And sometimes it looks like freeze or shut down, when a person seems numb or disconnected, feeling distant or zoning out. And here's what I really want to emphasize: survival mode is not a personality trait. Yeah, I thought it was a personality trait. I did. And it really was because I had operated in survival mode for so long. Even before I was married, I was a single parent. Uh, Whole story, right? That I don't want to get into right now, but just know that I was always in the struggle, right? Always in the fight to survive. And after a while, it just felt like that was just who I was. But survival mode is not a personality trait. Guess what else? It's not a lack of faith. Survival mode is not you being lazy. It's a protective pattern. It's an adaptation. It's your body trying to keep you safe using the tools it learned at the time. Whew. Now let's get practical. Here are some signs you may be in survival mode, especially if you're high functioning. You keep moving because stopping feels dangerous. Like if you sit still, everything you've been holding back might come up. Oh, that was me. I felt like I had to keep going. That if I didn't, all the grief, all the anger, all the hurt would just come up and I would just become some, I don't know, puddle of water or something. I don't know what I thought. But I definitely felt like I couldn't afford to stop. I had to keep moving. You don't really celebrate wins. You check the box and you move on to the next thing. Can I be honest? Y'all, I still struggle with that. I still struggle with celebrating wins. And it's been years, decades. But our body, our mind, our nervous system remembers. And I could share a whole lot, but I'm going to stay on point because this particular topic is me. It is so me. All right. So you really don't celebrate wins. You feel calm in chaos, but uncomfortable in peace. When stuff is going wrong, you're the strong one. But when things are quiet, your body can't relax. You have trouble resting without guilt. So you lie down, maybe you get on the couch or in your bed, and your mind is still running wild, right? It won't slow down. You're still clocked in. You numb out, right? Sometimes it might be scrolling on social media. Yes, believe it or not, that's a numbing mechanism. Yes, when we just scrolling. Sometimes it's snacking. Unfortunately, that was me. Snacking or shopping. It's trying to stay busy, right? It might be Netflixing and chilling. Anything that helps you not feel. Your emotional range feels limited. And for some people, the one emotion that does show up quickly is anger. Y'all, that was me. I would go from calm to rageful over the smallest things. And I didn't know, I didn't recognize what was going on in me. But when we are in survival mode and we don't take time to connect with our own feelings, we don't take time to get to know who we are, we don't take time to express ourselves. In my situation, I really didn't take time to grieve properly. Now, I eventually did, right? Because grief is one of those things, if you don't know, sooner or later it will catch up with you. So it did eventually a few years later. But the effects of living in survival mode continued and continues in some instances. You're more irritable than you want to be. Little things set you off and you don't even feel like yourself. And in your money life, you're often reacting instead of planning. You handle what's urgent, but long term planning feels exhausting. Can I tell you that was me? That this was all me. I'd handle the next bill, what I had to pay. But many times when we're in survival mode, we have no, I don't know, unction to even plan for the future. No unction to plan for the kids' college or for your retirement or for the vacation 2 years from now or for buying a home or all the things. Because when we're in survival mode, we're focused on what's in front of us, the next thing. And it's hard for us to even imagine that more is available. If you've been nodding your head, I want you to breathe for a second and hear me. There is no shame here, no condemnation. I'm sure not shaming you because I have been this person. But identifying where you are, listen, that is always step one. And if you're in survival mode, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you've been carrying a lot. Now let's talk about why we put off our feelings. Here are 3 reasons. Number 1, responsibility overload. Listen, I know I felt that the responsibility was too much. Taking care of my kids, cool. Taking care of my parents, ouch. My brothers, ooh. My own life, nobody else to help. It seemed like a lot to me. It seemed like the problems that I had were overwhelming. Back then, I had bill collectors calling me constantly, defaulted student loans, all the things, bills, trying to pay Peter, borrow from Peter to pay Paul, paying a little bit here and a little bit there, trying to figure out how much I can pay on this bill and keep things going without paying the full bill or the full amount due. Yeah, it was responsibility overload, at least for me. And a lot of us grew up or lived in environments where we felt like if we fell apart, nobody would catch us. Listen, that was me. I felt like if I didn't keep going, this whole family would fail. This whole family would fall apart. So I had to keep going. So we learn to be the catcher. We become the stable ones, the strong one, the one who has to figure it all out. Yeah. Survival mode. That's the number one reason. Responsibility overload. Number two, feelings don't feel safe. Maybe you weren't allowed to cry. Maybe your pain was minimized. Maybe you were told to pray about it, but never given permission to process it. Yeah, I was a believer too. And believe me, I heard that quite a bit. Just pray about it. God's going to figure it out for you. God's going to make a way. So feelings just didn't feel safe. I didn't want to cry in front of people. I didn't want people feeling sorry for me. I didn't want my parents to worry. I didn't want my kids to worry. Oh my God, feelings didn't feel safe. So I didn't feel, at least not in front of people. Number three, being strong is sometimes rewarded. Can I be honest, especially for Black women? People praise you for holding it down, for being that strong person, being the one that everybody can count on. They rely on us. They say, you're the strong one. And after a while, guess what? You start to believe it. You believe your value is connected to how little you need others. Ah, that was me. So you become very good at surviving and not very practiced at asking for help or being soft or being attentive to your own needs. And if you're a believer, sometimes we confuse endurance with healing. Endurance will get you through seasons, but healing teaches you how to live again. Man, am I saying anything that's connecting with you right now? Whew, I know it's a lot for me. So let's talk about the cost because survival mode is useful, but it is expensive. Emotionally, it can cost you joy. You can have blessings on paper, but feel disconnected in your body. Mentally, it can cost you peace. Your mind stays on alert. Remember, you're overthinking, you're anticipating problems, and you're bracing for impact. I have to catch myself even now. Yes, because sometimes I still feel that anxiety, that nervousness, that something's about to happen. I've got to prepare for that. Rationally, it can cost you, I'm sorry, relationally, it can cost you intimacy. People might experience you as distant, cold, and tough to read, when really you've been protecting yourself for so long that you don't even have another way to operate. I've also experienced that. I don't know, I probably need to ask some folks because people still may perceive me in that way. And financially, this is important because we talk about wealth and stewardship here quite a bit. Survival mode can cost you consistency. It might look like avoiding your accounts or avoiding looking at your bills because they're stressful. Handling bills only when it's urgent, only when you have to. Overspending for relief because guess what? You're depleted emotionally. So spending might be like a reward or a high for you, or even under earning because success feels unsafe or heavy. Let me say this, survival mode helps you stay alive, but it can keep you from being fully present in your own life. And if you've been in survival mode for years, it makes sense that your body doesn't automatically know how to shift into safety. Now, here's the part that might change how you see yourself. If you're starting to feel emotions you haven't felt in a long time, if you're crying more, if you're tired, if memories are resurfacing, if you feel a little more tender, you might think, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth. You're not falling apart. You're unthawing. I went through this. I thought it was hormonal. I thought something else was going on. I've become, let me say that, a lot more emotional. I've never been a very emotional person as far as outward emotions, as far as tears and that kind of thing. But at some point, all of a sudden, I'm crying over movies. Child, I have never cried over a movie. I have never shed a tear over some fictional something that I've watched on TV or even something based on a true story. But here I am in this place of feeling feelings, of reflecting on things, and yeah, just really feeling that emotion. And I realized that that was me. I was unthawing. I had hidden my emotions so long. I had operated in survival mode so long. Now, listen, and I think this is important for some of you. I was no longer like in survival mode from a financial perspective. Now, I had for many years been in that mode, but I was no longer in that mode. But my body, my nervous system, my brain was still operating in survival mode, even though that wasn't really my situation anymore. Even though, at least I thought, I had received healing and a lot of emotional healing. Financially, I was stable. And yet, I was still having these reactions, these symptoms of being in survival mode. And so when I started thawing out, when I started getting more connected with my feelings, it caused me to be more emotional. It caused me to even sometimes not recognize my own self. But I realized that that's healing. It's messy, it's tender, but it's real. It's it's our body, our nervous system saying we're safe enough now to process all the feelings, all the emotion that we didn't feel safe enough to process back then. Oof. Listen, I know this has been a lot today. And I know that survival mode in my coaching is like one of the first things that we want to deal with because many of us live in survival mode. So right now, I want to give you something practical you can do. And it's going to sound simple. I don't know, some of you may feel like it sounds new age-ish, but it's not. Right? I just want you to breathe. I want you to put one hand on your heart, and if you want, you can put one on your belly. And I want you to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And I want you to exhale a little longer than the inhale. So we're going to inhale through our nose, exhale through our mouth, and like a candle, just blow and just feel the air in your body. Feel your heart. Feel the emotion. I just want you to do that again. Inhale and exhale slowly. And as you're doing that, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Sometimes we don't even quiet ourselves long enough to really feel, to really know what's going on with us, to really understand what questions are in our mind about who we are. And even though this is or may seem like a simple strategy, it's important to feel the breath that God has given you, to inhale all the goodness, all the blessings, all the gratitude, and then release all the stress as you blow out that candle. Come on now, release that stress, release the anxiety, release the worry, release the uncertainty. What am I feeling right now? Think about that. Try to take some time and think about what is coming in your mind as you're breathing, as you're inhaling and exhaling. What words are coming? Well, how are you feeling? This is a good place for you to start your journaling if you are a journaler. Are you angry? Are you happy? Are you joyous? Whatever it is, whatever comes up, just let it be true. Okay, if you've done that, feel that. Journal that through. Begin the process of moving out of survival mode. You can always come back to this practice anytime you want. Anytime you feel yourself bracing or shutting down or pushing through or even feeling angry, wanting to lash out, breathe. take a step back. As we close, I want to remind you, if survival mode has been your default mode, it makes sense that safety feels unfamiliar, but you can learn it. That's the message today. You can learn it. You can come out of survival mode. You can connect again to who you really are in Christ. Little by little, breath by breath, choice by choice. Now, listen, in the next episode of this series, we're going to be talking about the unthawing, why you're not falling apart, what it looks like when you start feeling again, and how to support yourself through it without getting overwhelmed. If this episode blessed you, I want you to share it with a strong friend who's been holding it down for everyone else. Listen, I can connect. And if you want a safe place to go deeper, come connect with me through the Dream Empowerment Network community, where faith, finances, and inner healing, listen, they are not separate conversations, they're connected. Until next time, may you have the courage to slow down without fear. May your heart feel safe enough to soften. And may you remember rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. You know what I'm going to say.